Hello and welcome back to the channel. So hope everyone's having an awesome weekend so far. Today I just wanted to talk a little bit about writing schedules. And before we dive into today's video, just got a couple really random things I want to share because I like sharing super random stuff sometimes. So the first here is a bamboo plant. This was given to me as a gift by a coworker like almost 4 years ago. It's still alive. You can see it's starting to wilt a little bit, but I love this little bamboo plant. I like plants in general. I like just having small little house plants. So if you haven't gotten into house plants, I would start with something like this. It's super low maintenance and they look really nice and they just kind of brighten up the room a little bit. Now over here we've got a bag of broccoli sprouts. Broccoli sprouts are one of the healthiest foods you can eat. They also taste really good in my mind. They're kind of strange and take some time to get used to. Now, it's been a couple years since I've actually done any sprouting, but I want to get back into it. I have all the jars you need to actually do the sprouting. It's really easy to actually do. Once I start doing it again, I think I'll probably film a little video just to kind of show you how easy it is and just how cool it is too. I mean, you're really just growing something that you can eat inside of a jar. And then last but not least, I have started to drink coffee again. Now, I just recently posted that video about quitting coffee and how much I was into drinking matcha tea and all of that. But when I was making the video, I kind of knew that it wouldn't be long before I started drinking coffee again. June marks 1 year since I stopped drinking coffee, and in the back of my mind, I always kind of suspected that I would get back into it after a year off, and I've done that. I really love coffee, as I made clear in that video, and I just decided, after 1 year, why not ease back into it. I'm not drinking as much as I used to. I'm really kind of just having one mug of coffee a day, and so far there's been no bad effects, and coffee is something that I look forward to immensely every day, and I'm extremely glad that I did stop drinking coffee for a year, and I think it's a really good, healthy thing to do. If there's something that you really enjoy, try giving it up for a period of time, whether it's a week, a month, a year, whatever works for you. But I think it's a healthy thing to do, to just give something up that you really enjoy in life, just to see how you react and what the effects are. And then, yeah, get back into it when you want to, because really you should enjoy the things that you enjoy. So anyway, now on to today's topic. So I talked before about writing schedules, what time that I like to write. So yesterday I was watching a video by Meredith Phillips, who has a YouTube channel. It's called Meredith Phillips Writes, and she puts a lot of work into her channel, definitely more than I do. So definitely check it out. But her video was about a new writing schedule that she's trying out. She was talking about how she was feeling fatigued from her day job, sitting at a computer all day, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. So instead of trying to write what her typical schedule was of 4 days a week, she was going to try and put it all into one day and basically just write all day. Now, maybe a lot of other writers have thought of this or do this already, but somehow this had never occurred to me. Like, I don't know how I never thought that rather than writing, say, 4 days a week or 5 days a week or 6 days a week or every day, you could just condense everything into one day. Now, I've thought about not writing every day, and I've talked about that, but I haven't thought about transferring your hours per week from a spread out schedule where you're doing it several days a week to just one day. So you're still writing the same amount each week. Your productivity levels are going to stay the same in terms of time spent writing, but you're just going to condense all of that into one day. So for me, if I try to write 6 days a week, which is my ideal schedule. It's 6 days a week, 1 hour a day. I could just take all of that and put it in one day, and that's 6 hours a week. So just spend 6 hours, say, on Saturday writing, and then you don't write for the rest of the week. Um, Now, why would you do this? Uh, the reason is basically if life is getting in the way and work is getting in the way of your typical writing schedule of writing every day. And for example, like there are times when my day job is much more taxing than other times, and I feel like much more drained at the end of the day. And writing becomes much more of a chore as opposed to something that I look forward to. And so during those times, rather than just stop writing, I could just transfer my schedule to one day a week and just make a day of it. I just wanted to point that out, even though she talks about it and you may have already seen it in her video, because I had never even thought about doing that. Maybe other writers also haven't thought about doing it, and I just kind of wanted to kind of spread that. It's not an original idea, but I think it's a great uh, alternative to writing every day. And then one other thing I wanted to share is just a little book I started reading. This is not a writing book, but it's a literature book. Now it seems kind of gimmicky, but it's called the Handy Literature Answer Book. It's just kind of like a textbook, basically. Even though it kind of seems gimmicky and maybe a little silly if you're into reading, more serious academic stuff about literature, these types of books are really useful, I think. Just to get a kind of really cursory, basic understanding of literature, the history of literature, the various schools of thought. This book just basically gives you a taste of just about every aspect of literature, from the history to the different schools of thought and different ways to read literature. And sometimes you just need to know stuff and just know basic stuff before you can dig into more complex ideas. And I'm just reading this and I'm learning all this stuff that I didn't even know about literature, about like the origins of it, the origins of language, about things like what the word literature has meant through history, and that goes into the history of the novel, and it gives you just a massive array of different things to think about. So you kind of just want to have that basic understanding of this type of stuff before you then dig into more specific things related to literature. Now, why do I think this is important? Well, if you're a writer, you definitely don't need to know all of this stuff. But at the same time, everything we are writing, is influenced by things from the past. And there's this big chain of writing, basically, through time that is all influenced by previous pieces of writing. It's not just you. I mean, there is a long tradition that you are a part of, whether you realize it or not. So it's good to have a sense of where this is all coming from, I think. And it's also just entertaining and fun to read about, and then you can talk about it with other people who are into literature and writing. So that's why I think it's not a bad idea to be a student of the history and the ideas that permeate throughout the history of literature. And it's absolutely not necessary, but it is a way to acknowledge a tradition of storytelling that you, as a writer, are now a part of. That is all I've got for today's video. Now, I may or may not have a new video up next week. I'm getting my second COVID vaccine shot, and depending on how I react to that, maybe I will just be feeling awful all weekend and I won't have a video, or maybe I'll be fine and I'll still, put something out. So we'll see. Maybe I'll see you next week. Maybe I'll see you in 2 weeks. But either way, I hope you have an awesome weekend. Thanks so much for watching, and please give the video a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet. And that is all I've got. So we will see you next time.